Okay, so here we have the same shape we had a while ago. You'll notice though what I did is I've indented these to make it a little easier to read, and I copied the whole paragraph from before and pasted a second copy of it. Now all of these, both of these statements basically would just present the same whole, one right after the other. And that's not really going to be that useful. What I really want to happen on the second one is I'm going to scale the second copy and make it a little bit longer in the front to back direction, and maybe a little bit narrower in the Y and the Z direction. And what is going to happen is the second copy is going to be sort of a negative stamp. It's going to carve out its surface away from the first hole. And this is done by the difference command, that first line at the top left. So let's go ahead and put in some values here. Now in my X direction, that's the long direction front to back, I believe. And if I get it wrong, I'm going to change it. But I'd like that to be a little longer than usual, so I'm going to say 1.2. And then for X and Z, we're going to go a little smaller, 0.9 and 0.9. And again, what we're hoping to see is that this difference command will take the first full statement, the first solid object, and subtract from it this second and any others. You can have as many as you need to cut away or subtract from the first one. So the first statement is taken as positive, and every statement following that inside the difference brackets is taken to be a negative or a subtraction. So let's hit F5 and see what we have. And that looks pretty good. That's kind of what we're after. Now if I rotate this out, you'll see that looks like a thin shell. So that's starting to look a little bit better. Now if you want to see how it's actually cutting that back, I'll show you a couple of things to do with OpenSCAD. In front of each statement, if you put a pound sign and hit F5, what that pound sign does, it's sort of a debugging tool. And you see sort of in an opaque or translucent red, that is the scaled hull, the second one, and it shows you the piece that's actually being cut from the first one. Now I can see right here that it's not quite centered. Looking at it this way, there's more of it on the right than there is on the left, and the reason for that I believe is I haven't shown you yet the center command. So we're going to take a look at that in just a little while, but notice that you can get different effects if you choose not to center up a particular solid. Notice you might be able to use that to your advantage. Say we wanted this side to look different and this side to look a little bit sharper or thinner. Now that is a little bit too thin, so let's cut back on this a little bit. We're going to scale it down even further, and that means that the difference that we're subtracting away is less. Hit F5. There we go. One other command, let me show you. The percent sign. I'm adding that here and hit F5 in front of the first hull. And that's a little bit bigger computational task, but let's look at what it did. See, now the first hull is sort of in a translucent silver or gray tone, and that allows it to show through anything that was contained inside. So that's also really useful. It'll come in handy as you're trying to compose some of these shapes together to get something in particular. Let's get in a little closer, and you can see as that rotates around. Okay. And that's going to be it for now. Let's go ahead and put these back to normal. Hit F5. Now these aren't exactly the measurements that I've used, but as we go forward, you'll see exactly what's going on.